The puzzle of paper money. At first glance, paper money seems strange. A thin slip of cotton and ink, mass-produced by governments, with no intrinsic worth. Unlike gold or silver, you can't eat it, you can't use it to build tools, and by itself, it has no direct utility. And yet, around the world, billions of people accept these pieces of paper, or, more often today, their digital equivalents, as payment for food, rent, wages, and even life savings. So why does paper money have value? The answer lies in history, psychology, economics, and government authority. To understand why fiat money works, we need to trace how societies moved from barter to commodity money to the abstract system of currency we use today. From barter to commodity exchange, early human societies used barter systems, direct exchange of goods and services. A farmer might trade wheat for a fisherman's catch, or livestock for clothing. The problem with barter was the double coincidence of wants. For trade to occur, both parties needed to want exactly what the other offered. To solve this, societies adopted commodity money, objects that had value in themselves and were widely accepted in trade. Examples include cattle, salt, shells, and eventually, metals like gold and silver. These items were durable, divisible, portable, and scarce enough to hold value. For centuries, gold and silver became the standard. They were valuable for ornament, durable for storage, and rare enough to serve as a reliable store of value. The birth of paper money. Paper money first appeared in China during the Tang and Song dynasties. Merchants found it easier to carry notes backed by precious metals instead of hauling heavy coins. These notes were redeemable for gold or silver, which gave people confidence in their value. Europe adopted paper money later, with early examples in the 17th century from Sweden and England. Again, the notes were backed by precious metals. This system evolved into the gold standard, where currencies were tied directly to gold reserves. For much of modern history, a dollar, pound, or franc was simply a claim on a specific amount of gold. This linkage gave people trust. The paper itself wasn't valuable, but it represented something tangible. The shift to fiat money today, almost no currency is backed by gold or silver. Instead, we live under a system of fiat money. The word fiat comes from Latin, meaning "let it be done." Fiat money has value because governments declare it legal tender, and people accept it as a medium of exchange. This shift happened gradually. In the 20th century, countries began moving away from the gold standard, especially during wars when they needed more flexibility to print money. The United States formally ended gold convertibility in 1971 under President Richard Nixon, effectively closing the gold window. From that point on, the US dollar, like nearly all currencies today, became purely fiat money. Why fiat money has value? At first glance, fiat money might seem like an illusion, but its value is based on several interconnected forces. A. Government authority. Governments declare their money legal tender for all debts, public and private. That means taxes must be paid in the official currency. Since everyone owes taxes in some form, everyone must accept the money. This creates a baseline demand. B. Social trust money is fundamentally a social contract. It works because people believe others will accept it in exchange. If you accept a $20 bill today, it's because you trust that tomorrow someone else will also accept it. That shared belief is powerful and self-reinforcing. C. Controlled supply. Central banks like the Federal Reserve or European Central Bank manage the supply of money to preserve stability. If money supply grows too fast, inflation can erode trust. If it contracts too sharply, economic activity can collapse. The careful balancing act of monetary policy sustains faith in fiat systems. D. Network effects. The more widely used a currency is, the more valuable it becomes. This is why the US dollar dominates global trade. Oil, commodities, and international contracts are priced in dollars, reinforcing its role as the world's reserve currency. Inflation and the fragility of trust. While fiat money works, it's not invulnerable. Its Achilles heel is inflation. If governments print too much money without equivalent growth in real goods and services, the currency loses value. History provides extreme examples. Weimar Germany in the 1920s, where hyperinflation made people carry wheelbarrows of cash for bread. Zimbabwe in the 2000s, where bills reached denominations of $100 trillion. Venezuela in the 2010s, where runaway inflation destroyed savings. In each case, the problem wasn't the paper itself. It was the collapse of trust in the government's ability to preserve value. Fiat money only works as long as people believe it will hold purchasing power in the future. Fiat money versus commodity money. Fiat money has advantages over commodity-backed systems. It's far more flexible, allowing governments to respond to crises by adjusting supply. Under the gold standard, economies were constrained by the amount of gold mined, often leading to deflation and instability. But fiat money also demands discipline. Without the anchor of gold, the only thing backing currency is policy and trust. Mismanagement, corruption, or political instability can erode that trust quickly. The role of central banks. Central banks are guardians of fiat systems. They regulate supply through tools like interest rates, reserve requirements, and open market operations. Their goal is to maintain stable inflation, encourage employment, and support economic growth. The credibility of a central bank matters enormously. When people trust that the institution will act responsibly, fiat money retains value. When that trust breaks, through poor policy or political interference, currencies can collapse. Fiat money in the digital age. Today, most money isn't even paper. The majority exists as digital entries in bank accounts. Debit cards, mobile payments, and wire transfers represent fiat money in electronic form. This evolution underscores the abstract nature of money. What matters isn't the physical paper, but the trust in the system that records and honors those transactions. Digitalization also raises new questions. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin emerged as alternatives, promising scarcity and independence from central banks. While still volatile, they challenge fiat systems by asking, do we need governments to manage money, or can code and mathematics take their place? Psychological dimensions of value. Ultimately, money is as much psychology as economics. People believe paper bills or digital numbers have worth, and that belief creates reality. When trust falters, currencies collapse. When trust holds, even unbacked slips of paper can build empires. This shared illusion is what philosopher Yuval Noah Harari calls an imagined order. Just as nations, laws, and corporations exist because people collectively believe in them, so too does money. Future of fiat systems. Looking forward, fiat money will continue evolving. Central banks are now experimenting with central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, which could replace paper entirely with secure digital units. These systems promise efficiency, but raise questions about privacy, surveillance, and control. Meanwhile, inflationary pressures, debt crises, and geopolitical competition test the resilience of fiat money. Will the dollar remain the world's reserve currency? Will digital currencies challenge state-backed systems? The answers will shape the next chapter in the story of money. The core answer. So why does paper money have value? Not because of what it is, but because of what it represents. Fiat money embodies a promise by governments, institutions, and society itself. It represents trust, law, and shared belief. As long as people accept that promise, a simple piece of paper, or its digital equivalent, can command goods, services, and even the labor of millions.